Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas watching this video right now. I hope you're all having a wonderful day and enjoying the festivities. But as promised, this is my Christmas Q&A. I asked you to send in your questions and you kindly did. Apologies to those that I didn't get to, but thank you for sending the questions. I will be doing more Q&As in the future, so look out for that. Firstly, the football fan chat asks, why did you start your channel and what's my sub goal for the end of 2020? The reason I started my channel was originally, I think it was because back in 2014, I'd finished my GCSEs and I was very bored that summer. I didn't have a lot to do. I was waiting to go to college or think about what I was going to do next. And I'd adored Chelsea and talking about football for so long, and it just was something that naturally I thought I could do. I was watching a lot of the football channels on YouTube and it was something I wanted to get involved with. There weren't a lot of Chelsea YouTubers at the time. And you know, considering where we are now in terms of Chelsea community on YouTube, it's grown so much. But back then it was literally Eunice, another guy called Jonah Zeka, and then I started my channel. So really there was that element to it as well. Sub goal for the end of 2020, it's hard to sort of say. I think 10k would be a lovely number to have, but you know, I value those who watch my channel, who leave comments, who are passionate about what I do and enjoy doing what I do and want to engage in a conversation. So I think it's hard to sort of put a number on it because this thing's so unpredictable to guess what's going to be popular or what's going to be successful or not, what's not. I just enjoy making these videos. They're a great hobby of mine and I love doing them and hope to improve and hope you guys enjoy watching them. Basil asks, do you think we need to sign any central defenders? Not really, I don't. I think it's one of those areas where Chelsea are pretty strong. I think if you look at Antonio Rudiger, Kurt Zouma, Fikayo Tomori, all good ages. I look at Ethan Ampadu, who's out on loan, which I think people forgot. He can play centre-back. Whether he, in his career, eventually goes to central midfield, I think that's an area we could look at. But I think people have forgotten about him. Andreas Christensen. It's one of those areas that I don't think, a bit like central midfield, Chelsea don't need to strengthen as much. I think I look at the fullback positions, maybe on the wing, and of course up front, back up for Tammy Abraham. But I don't think Chelsea should break the bank in January. Definitely, I don't think there's probably the right player there. If a player departs in the summer, then of course Chelsea can rethink that. But at the moment, I think that's a strong area that I want to see Chelsea give time to younger players to develop. Danny asks, what do you think of Chelsea women as well as women's football in general? I think it's great. I think it's great how much it's developed very quickly and how much exposure it's got and how much it has grown in popularity. Really has grown fast. And I was at the Chelsea women's game they did against Spurs for the opening game of the Women's Super League at the start of the year. They did at Stamford Bridge and it was a great day. I think it was, and the hope is that continues to grow. They had the game at Wembley for the England national team recently. They've done well at the World Cup. There was so much attention over that. It's something that's going to take time. I think you look at the gap between the head start that the men's game has compared to the women's game, how that's going to work in terms of a weekend, because the women's game recently really is benefited when there's international breaks. Now this period of the season there isn't international breaks, is there? And I think maybe some of the attention goes off of that. And of course at the moment, because it's especially domestically, the price of going to a women's game is still relatively cheap. You know, fans can afford to do that. But of course as that game gets more popular, the tickets will increase, and I sort of concerned for fans whether they'll be able to do both. But I think it's great that, you know, there's that exposure there. It's getting mainstream exposure, which it deserves. The quality of football is so much improving so quickly. And I think mainly the good thing is the English women's game is sort of taking the lead on that and doing so much good for the game and giving it the exposure it deserves. So I think it's only going to grow and it's only a positive, and I think it's definitely something I'm going to be supporting in the coming years for sure. Jaden asked, when did you start supporting Chelsea and why? I started supporting Chelsea in, I think it was August of 2003 was when I attended my first game. Very young, and I was very lucky in a sense that when I started supporting Chelsea was when Roman took over. Of course there's a lot of talk and banter about Chelsea fans joining after 2003. Well, that's me because of my age, but there are pictures of me in Chelsea shirts before then. I'm a fourth generation Chelsea fan in terms of my family. Chelsea are my local club, so I sort of had no other choice. It's sort of a religion in our family. So that's why there was never going to be any other club that I was going to support other than Chelsea. I would have been excommunicated from my family if I had chose Arsenal. So it was always going to be Chelsea, and thank God I chose the best club in London, and to me, the best club in the world. So that's why. Moving over to Twitter now, Super Frankie Lampard asks, favourite player of all time, excluding a Chelsea player. I'm probably going to give this to Cristiano Ronaldo. I think the brilliance of him as a world-class talent, how much he's developed over the years. I was super relieved when he left from Manchester United because he always scored against us. But I think the way he's developed, watching him play football is astonishing. Similarly like Lionel Messi, but I just give it to Ronaldo because he's a player I've enjoyed watching over the years and see how he's worked so hard to get where he is. I think he is really impressive, and I think he's a good role model for people to have. So yeah, I'll give it to Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he is just an amazing player, an amazing talent for us to witness at the moment. Justin asks, best Chelsea goal in the last decade. Mine would have to be Drogba's insane goal versus Spurs in the 2012 FA Cup semi-final. That was an incredible goal. It's going to have to be an Hazard goal that I was there for. I think some of the goals he scored have been absolutely incredible. If we're talking about best goal, I'm going to go purely on the skill of that goal rather than importance. Because if we're talking about importance, then you could probably talk about the Fernando Torres goal against Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final, or some big goals of significance that won Chelsea trophies. I'm going to have to go with Eden Hazard's goal against Arsenal, the individual goal in the Premier League in 2017. Being at that game, and I think we were 1-0 and we were sort of under Kosh a bit, and Hazard picked up the ball, and of course when you watch back the goal now, you know what's coming at the end of it, but I remember sitting in the stands and just thinking, he's so isolated here, and he just kept on running, and it was only, I think, when Coquelin spun to the floor that I think all of us around where I was sitting started to realise Hazard's going on a run here. You didn't realise it was a solo run until he basically got into the box, and within a couple of seconds he was through on goal and scored, and it was spellbinding. I mean, Hazard, you could pick so many moments. The goal against Spurs when he equalised to stop them winning the title, the goal he scored against West Ham last year. Astonishing footballer, but that's definitely for me. I think that's one goal in this decade that stands out for me as just absolutely incredible from a Chelsea player. So it's got to be Eden's goal against Arsenal in 2017. My fellow Chelsea contributor Paris asks, best game you've been to atmosphere wise. I think, I don't know why this always pops into my head, because in truth, like, we didn't win the title because of it, and it was a pretty dour season. But the first thing that always comes to my mind is Chelsea 2, Spurs 2 in 2016. Especially the way that game turned. They went 2-0 up, and the feisty nature of that game, that really was a derby in all sense of the word. That was an incredible game. And when Hazard's goal went in, I've never experienced celebrations like that. I mean, I've been there when we've won league titles. I've been to FA Cup finals. I remember Drogba's winning goal, Champions League games as well. But that was absolutely incredible when Hazard's goal went in. The noise when that goal went in, and I think it demonstrated how big the rivalry between Chelsea and Spurs really is. Another one on that list that probably people forget is Chelsea-Liverpool in the League Cup semi-final in 2015 when Ivanovic scored the header that took us through to the final. That was a really tense game. It was really close. And personally, Liverpool probably being my most disliked team. And I remember being literally at the top of the East Stand up, and my season ticket is in the East Stand, but I was right at the top. And usually you don't get that much atmosphere there, but that was a night where everyone was off their seat, and it was incredible atmosphere to be in. Maybe some of the finals, but I'd probably give it to Spurs just because of the amazing feeling when that goal went in. Absolute mental scenes, absolute limbs when Hazard's goal against Spurs went in. So that's what I'll give as my answer. Maxime asks, what's your best Chelsea related memory? And the additional question, what is the best French speaking Chelsea podcast? Okay, this is Maxime's podcast, so definitely follow him on Twitter and follow his podcast. Best Chelsea related memory, it's got to be Munich 2012, Chelsea winning the Champions League. Nothing comes close to it. Absolutely incredible. I mean, the run to that final, I'm making currently like of the decade lists, and that Champions League victory like looms over all of it, because it just eclipses anything I've experienced as a Chelsea fan. The being here and at my house and watching the game, and then going to Stamford Bridge after that game, and all the emotion and celebrating with fellow Chelsea fans outside Stamford Bridge at like midnight, it was incredible. And then having the parade after it in the morning was just a dream come true. It was just a culmination of emotion and the roller coaster ride of that season. I think for Chelsea fans, it was something that, especially, probably not my age, but older than me, who've experienced the bad times at Chelsea, probably never thought they would see. And it really felt a bit like an end of an era for some of Chelsea's sort of old guard in that team. Absolutely. I mean, I collapsed to the floor in tears of happiness. I'm not ashamed to admit that at all, as I'm sure many Chelsea fans did. Never experienced emotion like that during a game, so it has to be Chelsea winning the Champions League in 2012. So that is it for my Christmas Q&A. Thank you to everyone who sent in your questions. It was lots of fun, and definitely I'll be doing another one in the future, so look out for that. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @nonChelsea. And I'll see you again.